Tigers moved up a spot to number 1 in the college football playoff rankings after Saturday's win over Alabama. LSU jumped over Ohio State, the top 4. LSU, the Buckeyes, Clemson, and Georgia at 4. The next 4 included Alabama at 5, Oregon and Utah at 6, a pair of one-loss Pac-12 teams there, and Minnesota undefeated at 8. LSU quarterback Joe Burrow continued his weekly haul of national awards as a senior quarterback has been named to the Maxwell Award Player of the Week. He was also named the National Co-QB of the Week by the Davey O'Brien Foundation for his performance in leading LSU past Alabama 46-41 on Saturday. Here was some reaction to the college football playoff rankings last night. Kirk Herbstreit was talking about another SEC team at number 4.
Yeah, right. As we sit right now with the results from last week, I thought Georgia would be at 4 personally and Alabama at 5. I thought Minnesota might be up in the top 6. But what David said is accurate at this point. I know they had the loss against South Carolina at home. It was not pretty. But I think what happened last week opened the door for them to slide from 6 up into the top 4 because of impressive wins against Notre Dame and against Florida. So for now, no issue at all.
Play the other sound because, look, the Georgia game will, the Herbstreit sound you all were talking about before the show, because the Georgia game ultimately in the SEC championship, like that'll have a lot of crazy implications once you arrive there. But even though Alabama's 5 in yesterday's playoffs rankings, we can explore this more. This is a bad sign for the Tide.
The interesting thing is, as we move forward, is Alabama. If Georgia eventually loses, whether it's to Auburn or it's the SEC championship game, those are 2 big hurdles. What happens to Alabama? Do they move up, or is there a little bit of a ceiling and teams behind them potentially going up and over them? By the way, Reese, I don't think that would happen until the last weekend when you start to see conference championships potentially out of the Pac-12 or the Big 12 is when they might go by Bama.
That's what I would see as well. They're gonna wait for those conference championships to be the crux of the argument. Look, in my opinion, it is painfully clear. And if college football does not agree with this, if the playoff committee does not agree with this, then it's time to buck the entire system. But it is painfully clear. You cannot put a one-loss Alabama over a one-loss conference champion. Otherwise, why play the championships? Why schedule hard teams? What are we even all doing here?
LSU continues to be the most watched team in college football in 2019 as over 16.5 million viewers watched the top-ranked Tigers beat Alabama on Saturday. The LSU-Alabama game was the most watched regular season college football game in 8 years over at CBS. Audience peaked between 6 to 6:15, which is when LSU closed the door on the Gumps. That's beautiful. LSU basketball, the Tigers are ranked number 23 in the AP poll as they take the show on the road for the first time Wednesday night, and they encounter VCU at the sold-out Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. The game is set to tip at 5 o'clock Central Time with the telecast on ESPN2. Tom Hart and Chris Spatola will have the call. Chris Blair will get to the air 30 minutes before tip-off, so that's a 4:30 pregame for you on Eagle 98.1 this afternoon. Speaking of college basketball, one of the biggest upsets in recent college basketball history as Evansville, number 1 former Kentucky player there, Walter McCarthy, brought Evansville into his former school and beat the number 1 Wildcats 67-64 on Tuesday night at Rupp Arena. Evansville's Sam Cunliffe, a transfer who had previously played at Arizona State and Kansas, hit a pair of free throws with just under 7 seconds remaining to seal the win. Wildcats guard Tyrese Maxey missed a three-pointer at the buzzer.
Evansville.
Kentucky. They paid him $900,000 for the game.
But I mean, do we know anything? I did some light Googling just because I was curious what Evansville was. It's in Indiana.
Not in Kentucky. We've been saying Kentucky this whole time.
Yeah.
Evansville, Kentucky sounds very real, though.
Also, there's only 2,500 students who go to that school.
Wow. Whoa.
Unless there's more than one Evansville, but I'm pretty sure that's the one.
And now, for all time, they
beat Kentucky.
Well, they can put not just Kentucky, but they have a win over the number 1 team in the country. You can put that on your resume forever.
Pelicans coach Alvin Gentry says Brandon Ingram's knee MRI came back clean, and he's officially day-to-day. Ingram was a late scratch Monday against Houston, but could possibly play against the Clippers on Thursday. He's currently 12th in the NBA in scoring, averaging 25.9 points per game. Got some bad juju around the Houston Astros right now. The Astros use a center field camera to help steal signs during the 2017 championship season. That according to former pitcher Mike Fears, who's now with the Oakland A's. He told The Athletic at a practice that they would have broken the rules against using technology for an advantage, in which has prompted an investigation. Fears, who is now pitches in Oakland, told the website that he warned teammates with the Detroit Tigers and A's that the Astros hitters had used a video feed piped into a monitor near the dugout to decode signs and relay them to hitters during games.
Greasy.
The Astros released a statement Tuesday saying, regarding the story posted by The Athletic earlier today, the Houston Astros organization has begun an investigation in cooperation with Major League Baseball. It would not be appropriate to comment further on this matter at this time.
Hey, we got to look into this. We got to look into this thing we were doing.
There's been some people, some
bad karma on the Astros right now.
Some Twitter investigators have gotten to work, and there's some video now that's out there where they were using a trash can in the dugout, and they were hitting the trash can twice on changeups. And there's a couple of pieces of video out there where in 2017 you can hear a banging on a trash can twice in the dugout. And they're picking it up, but I mean, like some of the stuff, some of the evidence surrounding it on video.
Sleuths.
Yes,
when you get enough millions of people on the internet caring about something, like they can
don't have anything else to do.
Yes, they can
Nothing.
uncover almost anything.
I'm watching highlights from a 2017 Astros White Sox game in the middle of April.
Yeah. I mean, also
yesterday about stealing signs.
Also, though, like, is there anything less surprising than an MLB team using video to try to steal signs?
At this point, is it the Astros?
I know it's against the rules, and I don't really have a lot of thoughts on this because I'm not huge into professional baseball. But do we care?
No.
Like, how do you feel about it?
Hell no. You know why I don't care? Because every team in the league is stealing signs in some type of way.
Right.
I mean, the Astros are using technology. Some other teams use it some other way. And it's
Credit
one of
to
those
'em.
unwritten baseball rules. Get out of here. All right, those are your headlines.
Is that in the official unwritten rules? You're allowed to steal signs?
I think it's actually a written rule.
Text Derbs. We'll find out. Nate, good morning.
Guarantee Media invites you to this year's Reindeer Run and Jingle Bell Jog on Friday, December 6th during downtown's Festival of Lights. The 1 mile fun run starts at 7 p.m. and the 5K starts at 7:20 p.m. This event benefits Forum 35, so register today at 1045ESPN.com.
All right, Will Wade and LSU agreed to this game when Wade took the job in Baton Rouge a couple of years back. He's going home to VCU, or going back to Richmond, Virginia tonight to face his former squad. He'll stop by here an hour from now from Richmond. We'll talk to Brody Miller about LSU football. Tigers #1 in the latest playoff rankings. Booger McFarland had a great game on Monday night with the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks close it out. Now San Francisco is
the NFC West
loss.
was kind of on the line. I mean, not fully, because would have been 9-0 to 6-3 is not insurmountable. But all of a sudden now you're looking at 8-1 and 7-2. NFC West race is back on. And what's crazy, Jordy, the Rams are done. They're not even in it, right? Like,
got beat by Pittsburgh.
Like a year from being the team, and it's just. It's so wild how fast it can happen in the NFL, and it's why the consistent success of the Saints and especially if somebody like the Patriots is just so damn impressive. Like the Rams look like they've made all the wrong bets now. They've signed Goff long term. He looked like garbage Sunday. They've signed Gurley long term.
He didn't get a carry in the fourth quarter.
They've sacrificed so many of their future assets for short term gain. I mean, just think about the Marcus Peters trade. The Jalen Ramsey trade just a little bit ago. Marcus Peters also earlier. It's wild how fast the end can come. Let's see if Sean McVay really wants to stay atop, everybody thinking he's the greatest coach in all of football. Let's see if he can navigate these very troubled waters.